is my goat? I can't find him. Everywhere I am reminded, I'd do anything to find him. What if my goat is drunk at a
Welcome
bar?
to another episode of the Blue Elephant Brigade podcast, where we've got geeky veterans talking about geeky veteran stuff. I'm Philip Hernandez.
This is John Hoover. On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about goat yoga, the technical issues that basically destroyed what was originally going to be our episode 2. We've got an interview with Tabitha Ray Mill coming to you, who's an outreach specialist with the Veterans Administration. Some information for both veterans and anyone that knows a veteran. We'll be talking about 65,000 fans who decide to take music production to their own hands. The dangers of cuddling with a wild boa constrictor. Why you shouldn't that shit. And the new Thor Ragnarok trailer and probably a few other things along the way. So, how you doing, Phil?
Pretty awesome, and you?
I'm doing well. You know, keeping busy. As I mentioned previously before we got going here, the wife and I did goat yoga last weekend.
Which I am very curious about, partly because goats are cute and tasty.
I don't think I've ever eaten goat.
We had a baby goat when I was a kid, and then we ate it.
Huh. Lamb's good. I don't know about goat.
It's a little chewy.
So we'll post pictures. If you're listening to the audio feed of this, if you go to the video feed, you can see actual pictures of the goat yoga. Also, if you're following us on either our Facebook page or our Twitter page, you've already seen a couple of pictures of goat yoga along with a live video on Facebook. So if you're not on those already, you should definitely subscribe. Anyways, though, yeah, so goat yoga is literally yoga with small baby goats prancing around the area while you're trying to, do breathing exercises and things. And so I think Haiti summed it up the best when she said, she was asked how she liked it. Her comment was, well, I think I did more goating than I did yogaing. So really, it's an opportunity to play around with a bunch of goats and hang out with cute animals for an hour, hour and a half, and claim that you did something productive with your time.
Productive.
Yeah.
Were the goats eating grass?
So the way that they get the goats to interact with everybody is they actually have different foods and treats and edibles for the goats that they sprinkle around the area. You're doing something. You're doing child pose, and they come and they put grain on your back for the goats to come and eat. And then next thing you know, you have a goat hopping up on your back trying to get to some food.
So they're not actually serving the purpose of cutting the grass so that you don't have to use a lawnmower, which uses gas and puts out fumes.
Right. That's one of the advantages of having a goat, based on my understanding, is that then you don't have to mow your damn grass. The goat does it for you.
Right. I mean, there are entire companies that are based on bringing in goats to your farm or your hillside and eating the grass so that you don't have to go and use a lawnmower because of the angle or rocks or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have food for the goats besides the grass that they should be eating.
One of the people that runs the yoga, which this is through Namaste, if I'm pronouncing that right, yoga studio here in Tampa. They're the ones that actually host this. They also do beer yoga, to give them a shout out. But they have two people there. They have the one that's actually doing the yoga and instructing, and they have what we'll call the goat tamer, who is managing the goats and walking around and make sure the goats interact with everybody and all of that.
Making sure the goats interact with everybody.
Yeah, because the goats on their own, I don't think they would have came up to people a whole lot. They're mostly, they're herbivores. They're interested in just trying to find somewhere where they can get the best food, and that's where they're going to hang out. It's not like a puppy where it has strong social instincts.
Mm.
But that being said, it was an awesome experience. I would totally do it again. I highly recommend it. It was just fun to do, Yeah.
And did you get any get enough exercise, enough yoga exercise?
No exercise. None. I was doing far more goading than I was yogaing.
So occasionally you'd have a downward dog, but a whole bunch of running goat.
Yeah, it was mostly like playing with the super cute goats every single time they would walk by, and oh, are we doing that pose now? Okay. And you jump back into a pose for a second, and then you're, pet a goat or taking a picture of a goat, or I turned on Facebook Live for a minute while I was there and did a live stream real quick. Yeah.
So was it just you and Katie who were having distractions by goat, or everybody?
Pictures, you'll see there's probably a group of, I would say, 15 people maybe, 10 to 15, if I had to guess.
No, I mean, was everybody else focused on the yoga, and was it just the two of you?
People seem to be far more focused on their yoga. Others were like me and Katie and highly distracted. And we had another friend with us too. So we had our friend Melinda also join us, who lives here in Tampa. She lives down in South Tampa.
And the one photograph that I saw of you, you and Katie over there doing the goat yoga, somebody else was playing with one of the goats.
Yeah.
Was that her?
Probably our friend Melinda. She's in some of the pictures for sure. Yep.
Did you posted that on Facebook too, right?
I posted a couple of pictures. Obviously the Facebook Live video is already up there for people to see, and that's actually at the Blue Elephant Brigade podcast Facebook page. I still have some other ones that I haven't put out yet that we'll be posting up there.
Do you have any concerns about posting goat pictures on an elephant podcast?
Interspecies issues?
Yeah, conflicts.
Yeah, no. We'll have to work around it. The elephant lovers may be offended by the. We're gonna have rivalry between the goat lovers and the elephant lovers on our Facebook page.
Yep.
Debate. That's probably the most exciting thing I've done since the last episode. Other than that, it's kind of just been day-to-day life around here.
I don't do anything exciting, so there's really nothing to say. I've been busy spending a lot of time at work and a lot of time in school, and yeah, nobody wants to hear about my boring stuff.
So the reason that you guys are hearing this episode instead of the originally planned episode 2 with Nate Waldron, and what else did we talk about in that episode?
Art.
We talked about the Trident Home Defense, Chainsaw and Trident Home Defense in that one. And we talked about the robot, the security guard robot that could no longer deal with its day-to-day grind, and so ended itself in a fountain. And unfortunately, we had major technical issues with the recording of that one. So we're still trying to salvage it, but if you guys are here expecting to hear that stuff, because we did send it out on our Twitter feed saying, hey, here's a preview of what we're going to be doing, you'll unfortunately have to wait for a future podcast. We can get some of that stuff worked out. Or maybe we'll discuss it again. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to make some modifications. But this is all part of starting up a whole organization that we don't really know everything about.
Yeah, this is very much a learning experience. We've had lots of people suggesting stuff to us, and we definitely appreciate it. Any suggestions we can get are highly appreciated in this endeavor of ours.
Yeah, keep them coming, because we are still learning, and all of your ideas are at least helping us, if not providing direct solutions.
Cool. Yeah, so that's why you guys are hearing this instead of the originally planned. So one of the goals we have for this podcast, besides talking about ridiculous human news and the insane stuff people do, and geek culture in general, I guess at this point focusing a lot on movies and a little bit on gadgets and things like that, and we're still kind of finding our footing, is because me and Phil are both veterans, and a lot of people we know are veterans. We wanted to also do a little bit of veteran, outreach and assistance, and talk to veterans about their experience a little bit through this podcast, both because it can be useful to veterans themselves, but also useful to their family member. Nearly at this point in this country, almost everybody knows a veteran, or is related to a veteran, or married to a veteran, or has a child that's a veteran. So it's useful information for everyone, even outside the immediate veteran community. So as our first part of doing this, we brought on Miss Tabby Ray Miller. Tabby's a veteran outreach program specialist. Hey, got it right. With VA in Melbourne, right?
Melbourne Vet Center.
There we go. Cool. So we wanted to just come on and kind of talk about her experience a little bit, answer a couple of questions that we have. I know personally one of the things that amazes me about veterans in general with regards to the VA is the number that don't realize that there's any services available for them at all. And even ones that realize that, hey, there might be something there, they have no clue what is actually there for them. Let's see. Some little background on Tabby real quick. Tabby, when did you actually get to the ship?
I got to the ship in 2003.
Okay. So yeah, Tabby was on the USS Theodore Roosevelt with Phil and myself in 2003. You got there after the Iraq med cruise?
Yes.
Okay.
After that one.
Yes, you got.
I arrived to a bunch of bitterness.
Yeah, so you got there after.
Whole load of it.
You got there after Phil's second one. My first med cruise, you would have been there just after that. Yeah, because that's right. Because it was me and another shipmate of ours, Colmeyer. We were the only two that arrived after the initial kickoff of the Afghanistan war. So we got there for RC division, Reactor Controls Division, for those of you not familiar with the Navy. We're the guys that actually ran a nuclear reactor. All three of us, they used to trust with a nuclear reactor on a daily basis. So yeah, there's
Lucky.
that. Still don't understand why.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's the background of how we knew Tabby. And then, we spent years together on the ship, and we've, kept in touch since then. And here we are now. Two of us living in Florida, and yeah. So anyways, Tabby, tell us a little.
It's actually kind of interesting because I, 9/11 happens, and I was already slated to go in because I graduated in May, and then September I was slated to go in November, and they called me. And I was stupid. I mean, I was 18 and the most naive person I know. And they're like, "Oh, do you want to go earlier?" And I was like, So I left in November, and so I was there. I joined in 2001, but after, all the time it took for training and stuff, it took me that long to get to the ship. So. That's why I didn't join you guys in your 159 straight days.
Well, and I missed that one. That was on the kickoff of the Afghanistan war. So, yeah. Phil, you had to go through that nonsense, right?
Yeah, 159 days shore to shore. Let's see, I believe that was the one where we started out on a 5-week cruise down in the Caribbean, doing drug ops or something like that. And then like 3 weeks into that 5-week cruise, the CO informs us that we will not be going home, and instead we will be going over to the Met. So nobody had set up anything on auto pay, their phone bills, their rent, their apartments, their loved ones, their cars. All the cars were still in the parking lot at the base instead of long-term storage. And then I believe that's the one where when we got back, there was a hurricane a week before we were supposed to pull in. So we just decided not to pull in for that time.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Well, and you guys stopped in France, right? On the way back to paint one side of the ship, right?
The first one?
Yeah. That's what I remember people telling me is that you guys
can't remember.
had a port call right before you came back. You stopped in France so they could paint one side of the ship because that's the side of the ship that the family members were going to see on shore. as you guys pull back in.
Oh god.
That's possible.
I don't know if that's what happened, then then I don't remember that because that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
So one of the
But
questions
it sounds familiar. Like it could have happened.
Yeah. It does sound familiar. One thing I want to ask Tabby is, what's the one thing that you would like to let people know about the VA? Like, what's the one single biggest thing that we could put out there?
Okay, so and just to tell you, like I mentioned before, nothing that I say today is official, like from the VA. I am a VA employee, so I know things as a veteran, but I'm not speaking for the Mailbird Vet Center. Okay, but so
Understood.
the first thing is, or the biggest misconception I think, is that the VA actually has 3 different branches, and none of them talk to each other. So, which is familiar, but I don't think enough people are really trained on that, so they don't know where to go. So the 3 different branches of the VA, there's Veteran Health Administration, there's Veteran Benefits Administration, and then there's the National Cemetery. So Veterans Health Administration only deals with healthcare, and that's it. Like nothing with disability, none of that. It's only healthcare. So when you go to, if you want disability, or if you want education, or if you want a home loan, or anything like that, it's all through the Veterans Benefits Administration. So it's a whole different person. Like each county should have their own veteran service officer. The veteran service officers for each county in each state, they do the veteran benefits stuff. So they'll help you with the claims, if you want to claim disability, if you have pension stuff, if you have family members, if you need aid in attendance, if you want to get help certifying for school, there's a 1-800 number that I know 1-800 numbers suck, but this one actually is not that bad because you're just calling to verify you're certified for MGI Bill or things like that. But I think the biggest complaint is that veterans get told certain information because people don't stay in their lane. If you are a benefits person, then you shouldn't be like giving full details of Veteran Health Administration, and that is because they don't get trained in that as frequently as the Health Administration employees do. So now you've got a veteran that's got the wrong information, never goes back to Veteran Health Administration because benefits told him that he wasn't eligible or something like that.
Right,
so I think is the biggest complaint is miscommunication because you just need to stay in your lane.
Right, yeah, and it's definitely, veterans definitely want to make sure they get to the right source. You don't want, I mean, there's all kinds of misinformation out there. Go online and search about veterans benefits, and you find something from 2008 that looks like it's brand new online, and people start quoting from it. Totally understandable.
I was just wondering. You said you have an 800 number, but is there anybody on a site that you can go talk to get to the right person? Like if you're at the VA, is there somebody who can tell you if you're supposed to be at the VA or if you're dealing with disability? Is there a desk where you can go to see if you're supposed to be there or how to start the process?
Yeah, so I was telling John, I want to tell you a little bit about the Vet Center because it's a pretty unknown source, and that's because they didn't have any outreach people. 2 falls ago is when they really started hiring outreach, and our whole job is to network with the community and find out about all the resources that are local for our veterans and then tell the resources about the Vet Center. So the Vet Center is a small stepchild branch of the Veterans Health Administration. So we are, and what that means is we were formed in '79 by Vietnam veterans because they weren't being treated well by the VA. And so they started their own thing. And eventually the VA saw how well it was working for the veterans, so they picked it up financially. So Vet Centers share HR with the Health Administration, but all of our policies and all of our staff and all our computer systems are completely separate. So the Vet Center We provide counseling for combat eligible veterans, and that's expeditionary medal or campaign badge, and then any military sexual trauma. But each of the veteran outreach program specialists, we call ourselves VOPs because it's a pretty secret society. What we do is we communicate with each other. We network with all of those different VA resources and all of the other community resources. So if you're in a bind, you don't know where to start, there's 300 vet centers nationwide. You go on the website, which it's very easy, www.vetcenter.va.gov. You go on the website, you click on your state, it pulls up all of the vet centers that are there. You can click on the operating hours, and then you even can click on the key staff. It'll pull up who their outreach specialist is, so you can know exactly who to ask for. I need to talk to this person. And they'll get you in a way that you can kind of lead you in the resources that you need. Also, all of the outpatient clinics and all of the VAs, they all have a information desk in the front. So if you are confused, you walk in and you just talk to that person, like right at the front desk, and they'll tell you. But also a lot of the outpatient clinics or the VAs, which is all Veteran Health Administration, they have a couple of offices for veteran service officers who also did benefits, so they can kind of walk you through, we'll get started here. Not to mention all your DABs, American Legions, VFWs, all of those in the area will also be a good spot for you to start your search, like, okay, where should I start? But I like the vet centers because, one, we're dedicated to that one task of networking with the community, so that's our whole job. And two, you're always going to call, when you call, you're always going to get a person. Cool. So even after hours, we have a combat call center, now known as the Vet Center Call Center, because that's not redundant, and it's manned 24 hours as well.
You mentioned the front desk. I gotta be honest with you. I think that I'm so smart that I can bypass the front desk and just figure it out from the signs and decide where I should be going.
That's fun.
But I have found that I am not quite that smart, and I cannot just figure out a giant organization like that. And I haven't gone to the front desk.
All of the outpatient clinics are really, all of the ones that I've seen, and I've seen like 6 or 7 so far, they're all set up pretty standard. Like they've got certain specialty clinics down one area, and then they've got your primary care down the other area. But as far as the VA medical centers, like the big one, say Orlando has one whole wing, like this whole side of the building is clinics, and the whole other side of the building is administrative, just employees that are taking care of other employee stuff. Well, so if you walk into the wrong garage, you're like, where am I?
Tampa has a huge facility. We have the J.J. Haley facility here, and so it's an enormous facility we have here. I've actually used them a number of times. I've used them this year, as a matter of fact. You know, personally, I've always had pretty great experiences, both VA medical side and on the educational benefits side, as far as ease of getting service and having, you know, effective medical care and things of that nature.
Did you notice when you got out that a lot of the people that we got out with were very anti-military at the time? So it was like, I'm going to fall off the grid. I'm not going to do any of this. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to go take care of myself. Did you guys notice that when you got out?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I had that attitude very much. Like, I didn't want anything to do with the military by the time I got out. Yeah, I think it's pretty standard, especially among us nukes that get out. We're kind of over the whole thing by the time we get out.
Yeah, and that's the difference now that I see, because I actually go to the TAPS classes, and I can see them wanting to get involved with whatever resources are available. But also all those resources are available now, whereas before, even 7 years ago, they weren't. There's like a huge focus on OEF, OIF right now, and they've got so many more resources than OEF, OIF, Operational Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Okay, got it, yep. So,
and then there's Operation New Dawn.
Basically, if you were involved in the most recent Iraq War or the Afghanistan War, over the last, let's see, 2001 to now, so 16 years or so, veterans fall under those two categories. And so that's where a lot of special benefits and things of that nature come out of that. Just, for people that aren't familiar with lingo and may not have been in during that time, those are the two operations that, officially Afghanistan and Iraq are covered under those.
And New Dawn as well, which is right after that.
Okay.
So they are too. And so now that they've got all that, I see them coming more and more. But there's this whole generation of gap that includes all of us. You don't see a lot of Desert Shield, you don't see a lot of Desert Storm, and you don't see the beginning of OEF coming to the VA. It's like a generation that was missed. And now that we missed them, we've got to go out and try to find them. And how do you find hermits?
Yeah, and I know that so I work with a bunch of veterans, specifically Navy veterans, more than anything else. There's a few other branches that I work with at my job, but they don't use VA services at all, the older guys whatsoever. So that's definitely a good point. Definitely thanks for information, Tabby. We appreciate it. Phil, you got anything else you want to ask her before we let Tabby get out of here?
No, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing what you know.
Awesome.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yep. Thank you, Tabby. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
What if my goat is drunk out of...
All right, so let's move on to this week's In the News, weird and crazy stuff that humans done over the past few days. Phil, I think you had the first one that we came across here. If you want to preempt it.
Oh yeah. So there's this video of fans at a concert at what was that? Where was that?
It was a Green Day concert.
Green Day concert.
Hopefully just now you heard a brief clip of the fans singing. And you probably saw a little bit if you're actually watching the video feed via our YouTube page.
The whole video was like 5 or 6 minutes long. We don't want to throw all that in there. But it was pretty impressive that, you've got 65,000 people standing in an arena waiting for a concert, and then Green Day is having, some issue where they weren't making it out on stage yet. So after a few minutes, people just started singing the song.
So one of the things I noticed is that you can kind of hear Bohemian Rhapsody playing. So trying to figure out if the fan starts singing it and then it was already on playing a little bit. So maybe it was playing as just to fill space while they were waiting for Green Day to take the stage.
Well, see, yeah, I do remember hearing the some instruments in the background, and so if you listen to the beginning of the video, then it's just the fans. The fans are just singing, and then somewhere around halfway through it, I don't remember exactly where, but I started hearing instruments, and I can't remember if it was the beginning of the instruments, but eventually there were instruments playing, and I think there was somebody providing some vocals too. So I'm kind of assuming that
I do know that it's a amazing video to see. Like watching the fans sing and getting that pumped up. You can see the crowd like jumping at different points and stuff like that, and way into it. It's such a cool thing. I wish I had been there for it.
Freaking amazing. And if any of you were in that crowd watching this video right now, then drop us a line. We would love to hear from you.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome to hear from somebody that was actually there. What's going on?
Yeah. And how it started. Like, did people just... I mean, you can't just start a slow clap anytime, right?
Right. Especially that big of a group of people to get them to where they're all singing together well enough that it can be recorded and you can tell what they're saying. Like, that's pretty amazing.
Did you see the size of that crowd?
65,000 it says? Yeah.
So how would you get somebody over here singing to get somebody over here to start singing with somebody over here across 65,000 people?
Yeah. It's pretty incredible. There must have been something keeping them together a little bit. I don't know. It's awesome. I know that. That is a huge crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever been in at a concert was when Rage Against the Machine got back together for Coachella in 2007. Me and a friend of mine out in California were at the Coachella Music Festival on day 3, and Rage Against the Machine was the final act of that night, and that crowd was unbelievably huge, but it wasn't 65,000, that's for sure.
Oh no, I would expect a lot of people.
Well, Coachella, they went the size because there's only so much space in the venue. There just wouldn't be space for that many.
Whereas this one was just out in the open, so
yeah,
you just start crowding.
Yep. All right, so it is okay. We're recording on XSplit. We're good there. We'll close Audacity. That's good. No, I already exported that audio and record. Oh wait, shit, fuck that up.
What was that? That video of? Oh, okay, no, never mind. I got you.
Okay.
A 5-foot-long boa constrictor. She says, "I have a boa constrictor stuck to my face."
A woman shocked 911 operators in Ohio when she called in to report she had a 5-foot-long snake wrapped around her neck. A woman said, "I have a boa constrictor stuck to my face." She added the snake had latched onto her nose and was unable to pry the mouth open. Let's see. So, my favorite part of the story, the part that makes it like, okay, it'd be kind of tragic if she had this thing for her entire life and all of a sudden turned on her and attacked her. But it turns out she told the 911 operator she had rescued the snake the day before and that she also had pythons. Fox News reported. She was keeping it as a pet. So when she says that she rescued the snake, I think that means she found it outside somewhere. Although it's in Ohio, so where is she rescuing a boa constrictor from in Ohio?
I don't know. Ohio is one of those states where I haven't spent much time, so I don't know if you have boa constrictors just running around the wild over there.
Well, my wife is actually from Cincinnati, or as it's affectionately known, Cincinnati. So there's definitely not
Cincinnati
constrictors running around in Ohio. Maybe somebody else owned it, but the main thing, she had this thing for one day, and she had it apparently close enough to her face that it was able to strike her in the face and wrap around her neck.
One day, and you think you know somebody well enough to just invite them into your home and start making out with them. It's I mean, she didn't ask him where he lived or where he's been. You know, nothing. He didn't know anything.
This is how you get yourself removed from the gene pool, is putting strange snakes, especially boa constrictors, close to your face. Guess what? You don't get to be part of the gene pool anymore. However, in her case, she did end up surviving.
Which is surprising because a lot of people don't.
Yeah. Yeah, boa constrictors are, snakes. I personally like snakes. I think they're awesome. I make a point, especially being here in Florida, of be able to recognize different species of snake and be able to respond, accordingly. If it's something not poisonous that is cool I've never seen before, I try to get closer to it and check it out. If it's one of the cottonmouths that we have a lot of around here, then leave it alone and let it do its thing, and hope make sure it goes away.
I'm a little different. If I see a garden snake, I run screaming.
Yeah. Hands in the air.
Yep.
Yeah. Very nice. Several of those go on that, when responders arrived, she was lying in the driveway with blood around her. She was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Firefighters said they had to cut the snake's head off to detach a reptile from her face.
See, now that's where it goes wrong. She created this situation. She rescued it from its home habitat, and then she's food to him because everything is food to him.
Yes.
And then she causes him to lose his life.
Right. He's just trying to be a snake. He didn't expect some crazy lady to try and make out with him, and next thing you know, he flashed onto her face.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't want to be there. I mean, if somebody rescued me and took me to their house, then I would want to get out too.
Yeah. All right, so it is okay. We're recording on XSplit. We're good there.
What? There have been other stories where people had snakes as pets, and not just pets or snakes that they'd rescued the day before, but they'd had these snakes for a long time, years. And then one day it decides to grab somebody and start hurting them and then kill them.
Reptile that can do a lot of damage if it wants to.
That thing is all muscle.
Yeah. All right, so it is okay. We're recording on XSplit. We're good there.
I've never felt one. I don't really want to.
Next episode, we bring boa constrictor over to Phil's house. Stay tuned.
That'll be fun. Yes, I encourage you to do that. Come on over.
It's no. Stop thinking about it.
Now, if you want to come over and rescue me into your multi-million-dollar mansion and feed me freaking champagne all day, sure, maybe I could go for that.
Then you won't bite somebody's face. You'll be friendly then, docile even.
Maybe, possibly. Unless you don't give me truffles too. You got to give me truffles.
So somebody's gonna have to start recording the ways to achieve a docile Phil that you can have accompany you to your home. Truffles and money. That's all it takes for Phil.
Truffles, money, mansion, and champagne. Yeah. That is just so ridiculous. I mean, she took this snake out of his comfortable home and then got him killed. Who is this?
He couldn't. I'm thinking she must have taken him from somewhere else because you don't have. Ohio climate is not friendly to boa constrictors. It's not going to survive up there. So she must have gotten this thing from somewhere. Where the hell she rescued it from?
Yeah, I suppose we could look for more stories about her and where it came from, but that just pisses me off. I mean, I'm no fan of boa constrictors, right? But I'm not even a fan of snakes. But I have no desire to cause them pain, damage, death. they stay out there and do their thing. I stay over here and do my thing.
Right.
Yeah, and we get along that way.
All right, so it is okay. We're recording on XSplit. We're good there. We'll close Audacity. That's good.
Oh, I meant to do that. I just never got around to it. What'd you think?
Have you ever read? Do you know what's a comic? Is where that comes from?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Okay, so apparently it's a comic. I believe it is a French comic. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong about that. But the movie itself comes from Luc Besson, and he's the same director that did Fifth Element and Lucy. And back when he did Fifth Element, this is what he actually wanted to do. This story, he actually wanted to do Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, and couldn't for, I think it was budgetary reasons maybe, or whatever, whatever reasoning, didn't get to do it then. So this has been like his goal. He's been reaching for a long time now.
So the story is not new. It's been around. What?
Comics. I'm not sure how long the Valerian comics have been around for. I've never read them myself, unfortunately, so I'm not even sure exactly how close the movie matched up with them.
Apparently, the Fifth Element was released in 1997.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, so 20 years he's been trying to make it happen.
20 years.
Yeah, and I'm sure graphics were probably part of it, because I'll tell you what, if Valerian is nothing else, it is a beautiful fucking movie. It is absolutely, without a doubt, CGI, like, it's CGI porn is what it is. It is beautiful. It's stunning.
Just from the trailer, it looks like things that you could not accomplish in real life.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. So I guess I'll throw this out there real quick. Spoilers for anybody that's gonna go see it, or minor spoilers or whatever. The part of the premise of the City of a Thousand Planets part of it is based on the modern day International Space Station. The way they build the story up is they show like the astronauts arriving and shaking hands, right? Like you would see in modern days. Like they open up the capsule door, the people on the ISS are videotaping it, and they walk up and they shake hands, right? You've seen that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it progresses, and then it kind of starts going into the future a little bit, where they have like Russians on the inside, and they're shaking hands with Chinese that are coming up, right? And then it progresses further to where you have your first aliens show up at the International Space Station and shake hands with somebody, and they're showing this thing growing as time goes by too. And so basically what's happening is that the City of a Thousand Planets comes from this small space station initially, and then it's just growing over time as a new species shows up, another, until you have this giant thing that represents, in theory, 1,000 different planets, 1,000 different species represented on this space station.
Oh, that makes sense. So it's not like you're going through a wormhole from one point to another inside the city. It's not like giant planets inside one city.
It's a giant space station that just has 1,000 different species.
Huh. Okay, that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, and so like the premise of it's really cool, without a doubt, and it is amazingly beautiful. Like, holy crap, this thing is stunning. Like the job that they've done on these graphics, and it engages you visually, and awesome. Rihanna's in it. She plays a character called Bubbles, and you can see little clips of her in the trailer and stuff like that. It was actually, her being in it actually turned me off in the movie a little bit initially. It's like, man, is this gonna be another one of those like pop star or hip hop star trying to cross over into acting, and it's gonna be forced in, and it's not gonna work at all. It's gonna be horrible, right? We've seen that before. It actually works really well for her. The character that she plays and the person of the character and who the character is, like, it fits up really, really well, and she does an amazing job of carrying that character.
Um, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I mean, have you not seen it? Okay, so that's the good part of the movie, is that it's beautiful, and the beginning of the movie is captivating as hell. Like, it draws you in, and there's a specific species that it starts off with, and it makes you care so much about the species right off the top. Like,
Not human?
however, there's plot holes and misjumps and disconnects and stuff like that throughout the whole thing, which is the part that kind of hurts it. Like, it's not doing real well in the box office right now, or it's doing pretty poorly. That's part of why I think is that it just kind of, you can tell that what it looks like is that he had all this stuff he wanted to do in this movie, and because he tried to cram so much into it, like, it's based on comic books, so he wants to show this area and this area and this area and all this different stuff that I'm sure if I read the comic I would recognize. That ends up kind of jumping around all over the place, and there's different parts of it that like don't really serve a purpose. They're just kind of there.
I can kind of see the issues with that. If you look at just comic books in general, then and you look at the audience for comic books, those are people who just want to hear a story, but then they also want to use their imagination, and there's so many different things that they can imagine that you could not put into the comic book. It's just like, I mean, if you look at the time frame compared to a movie, then a comic book frame is one frame out of what, maybe minutes?
All the stuff that you fill in, right? Like, Magneto's Avalon Station. I think that's what it was called back in the day, when he had his space station. Well, we never saw any of it. Like, what does the rest of that place look like that he's created here? You have to fill all that in out of your mind, what it's going to be. And even, just page to page, there's huge gaps that you fill in as you go along the story.
Whereas this Valerian, it looks like it's trying to give you the whole story. And there's just so much you can fit into a 2-hour time span.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, if you're into amazing graphics and want to see something that just is stunning, like, I would highly recommend it. And there's certain parts of it that, without a doubt, work, and they're really entertaining and really well done.
And it does look beautiful. I mean, just freeze framing the trailer at the beginning, looking at the city. I mean, the reflections, the lights, the buildings, the windows. It looks incredible.
Yep. So, I don't know. We don't have
So you want
a
to?
rating system yet on this. As far as how we rate our movies, if we're doing a review, we gotta come up with something for it.
A rating system.
3 out of 5 wags of an elephant's tail or something? I don't know.
Elephant's tail. Who pays attention to the tail?
I don't know.
The trunk. Yeah.
Or the wags,
Yeah.
really. I mean, I guess the trunk kind of wags too.
Mm-hmm.
Trunk up, trunk down.
Trunk up, trunk down. Hey, there we go. Yeah.
2 trunk up. If you are looking at the video of this, or you go to our main page on Codiant, you can see that. So yeah, there's that.
Well, what is this like this is not like Marvel or DC, is it?
I don't think so. No, I don't think either of them own this property necessarily. I'm not sure who Valerian's actually owned by.
Well, I I don't know much about Rihanna, and I don't know much about this movie background, but the guy in that movie, I don't remember what his name is. He's been in.
You talking about the guy?
He's been in
Valerian?
some. Oh, is that his name?
Yeah, so that is the male character's name.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, him. I know I've seen him somewhere else before, and I can't remember exactly where. Dane DeHaan.
Yeah, I know that he's been around. I've seen him in a couple of things too.
Oh, right. So he was in that Spider-Man 2 movie as the Green Goblin.
As friggin' holy cow.
I can't think of his name. Why can't I think of the character's name? Yeah, Harry. Oh, Harry Osborn. Osborn. How can you forget Oscorp?
Oh, I could think of Oscorp. I couldn't put Osborn out of it. Anyways, yeah. Harry.
Can't believe I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I know. So I think that's one of the other things that may hurt the film a little bit is they do a great job with those characters. Sergeant Llewellyn is the female lead, and both of them do an awesome job being the characters. There's a love story between the two of them that feels kind of forced. Like it just doesn't seem to make much sense. Like it seems like the two characters have been together forever as partners, and then all of a sudden they're like falling in love. You know, like it doesn't really match up well. And the other thing is when you watch interviews of them, Cara Delevingne, I guess, she's a model, right? And she definitely doesn't interview like your typical actress from a superhero movie. Like,
how do you figure that?
If you were to watch like an interview of her next to an interview of Johansson, then you know, but Johansson's way more appealing than what she's gonna be.
Yeah, but Johansson's been doing it a lot longer, probably.
Yeah, probably true. I mean, I don't know how much longer, but I think that's part of the, like, I think that maybe it might have hurt the promotion a little bit, having them out there at promoting it. Maybe, I don't know. It's just kind of something about it. But they were awesome in the movie itself, I thought.
I've got to go see that. I know I've seen her somewhere, too.
There are big actors in it, too. Ethan Hawke is in it, and so is Clive Owen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see either of them in the trailers. Maybe I missed it.
They might show Ethan Hawke for a moment in the trailers. He has kind of just a little bit role. He's only on screen for maybe 10-15 minutes at most, I would say.
He's pretty cool. I mean, everything I've seen him in has been freaking fantastic.
Anyways, we're going to give it, I guess, one trunk up, one trunk down, apparently, is our rating system. Yes. Alright, so it is, okay, we're on XSplit, we're good there. We close Audacity, that's good.
So much has happened since I last saw you. I lost my hammer, like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh.
And then I went on a journey of self-discovery, where I met you.
Where are we?
You have no idea.
Hela, the goddess of death, has invaded Asgard.
Oh, I've missed this.
And you and I had a fight recently.
Did I win?
No, I won, easily.
Doesn't sound right.
Well, it's true.
Asgard is dead. And it'll be reborn in my image. I thought you'd be glad to see me.
I need to stop her here and now to prevent Ragnarok, the end of everything. So I'm putting together a team.
Like the old days.
Surprise! This will be such fun. Hello.
Hi. He's a fighter.
Here we go! not a queen or a monster. I'm the goddess of death. What were you the god of again?
We're the same, you and I. Just a couple of hot-headed fools.
Yeah, same. Hulk like fire, Thor like water.
Well, kind of both like fire.
But Hulk like raging fire, Thor like smoldering fire.
Awesome. I'm excited for it now. I mean, the last two Thor movies have been, they've had their good moments, but overall not. Certainly not the best Marvel movies by any means. This one looks like it's going to be pretty great.
I think they were still pretty damn good.
Yeah, they are, without a doubt. But I mean, it's all relative, right? I mean, Marvel movies are amazing. So,
yeah.
Oh,
that last bit,
right, it's still amazing. Let's be honest.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. One is some are a little less great than the others.
Yeah.
That last bit with Thor and the Hulk.
Yeah.
You remember the first Avengers when they landed inside that building?
They landed inside the building in the first Avengers.
Yeah, they were riding that alien. Yeah, but toward the end in the main battle.
They're like hanging out with each other and friggin' Hulk backhands them.
Yeah, just punches him. He sucker punches Thor. That's fucking hilarious.
Awesome moment, yes. Fantastic.
I'm a little...
Ragnarok. There's a ton of Easter eggs in that movie. I was never a big reader of the Thor comics growing up, but some of the stuff I recognize just from... So I read the Iron Druid books. And that book series is really big into Ragnarok right now. And so there's crossover between some of the stuff that you see there and some of the stuff that's in books, like the giant wolf that you see Hulk fighting, I believe.
Yeah.
Ragnarok, the actual mythic legend Ragnarok. That's part of coming from there.
Well, what is Ragnarok supposed to be?
Ragnarok is the end of the world, based on in Norse mythology. So,
well,
Ragnarok actually, I think I'm gonna get all kinds of stuff wrong here. So I'm sure we'll comments from people, but it involves like Loki, and Loki's daughter in the actual Norse mythology, I believe, and I know for a fact the comics is actually Hela. Hela is the daughter of Loki, but I don't think they're going to get into that in the movie necessarily. And then Ferris, I believe, is the name of the wolf, who might also be a child of Loki, possibly, I think, or something like that. I don't know. It's all Norse mythology, so it's all over the place.
Well, I wonder how old Loki is.
Well, in the movie we know... Well, I guess we don't know how old he is in the movie, necessarily. But, I mean, Norse mythology...
Those guys can live for thousands of years.
Yeah. We know in the movie they portray him as being the son of the Frost Giant.
Yeah.
Right, after the war they bring him back and it's hidden from Loki himself.
Okay, but again, when was that? Was that 30 years ago or 300 years ago?
I have no idea. A long time ago we'll go with. Very, very long ago.
Right? That's what I'm thinking. I mean, you can't just become that good of a fighter just in like 20 years, can you?
I mean, Captain America.
Okay, but that's Captain America.
Iron Fist? Well, not the Marvel Netflix Iron Fist. We'll talk about that next episode. We'll get into Defenders and my friends towards the...
Okay, but Loki's also a magician. He can do things that even Thor can't understand.
That is true.
Right. Granted, he's no Odin, but he can look like Odin, apparently.
Yeah. Anyways, Thor Ragnarok looks like it's going to be awesome. I will be there probably first couple days that's open, if not the day that opens, checking out.
I might be. I'm not sure. When does that open?
November, I want to say, maybe. Yeah, November 3rd.
November 3rd. Yeah.
Yeah, because you usually get one in the spring, one in the fall, and the fall one's usually in November.
Hopefully I can spare some time to go check that out. Because that looks freaking amazing. But why, how can you destroy Mjolnir? I don't like that one. I don't like that part at all.
I think it's been destroyed in the comics before, too, though. I think. Again, I didn't read Thor growing up, really, so... But I know that there's other people that can certainly lift it in the comics. Besides just Vision.
Hey, anybody who has the story behind this, give us a call.
This is when we need to be doing this on YouTube Live, so that we can get
there
and somebody can tell us. Yeah, I don't know.
We got to practice that live thing.
But there's also a scene there where she asks Thor what he's the god of, and you see him come down like a bolt of lightning. So I wonder if maybe Thor gets the powers of Mjolnir incorporated with him somehow, or who knows? We'll see.
That would be kind of freaky.
Yeah. So San Diego Comic-Con just ended, right?
I haven't been keeping track of Comic-Con.
So just San Diego's Comic, and they had all the videos that came out there, and they showed the trailer for Avengers: Infinity War. And one of the things in the trailer there is Thor meeting up with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What?
Yeah. Because they bring them all together, right? Everybody's going to be in Avengers: Infinity War. There's supposed to be 64 Marvel characters on the screen at once, at one point.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be that soon. All right.
It's like a year away, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is awesome.
It might be the next Marvel movie, maybe. Unless Black Panther comes out first. One of the two.
I have a deep, dark secret that I've never told anybody.
Oh, yeah? Well, tell the world.
I'm not really as much of a comic book geek as I would like to be. I think I've read a maximum of about 30 or 40 comics.
Okay.
And it was kind of a spattering of Marvel and DC and something else. I can't remember what, but there's some Rocket Raccoon in there. There's a lot of X-Men, but I don't really know the comic book lore like I should.
I probably have 30 or 40 comics within arm's reach right now if I had to. Let me, 1 second here. Let me see.
Wow. Okay, just like that, you produce 7 pristine comic books.
Yeah. So, 2 things. One, it's kind of cheating because we still, even though we've been living in this place for going on about, let's see, we've lived in our new house for probably 6 months now at this point. I still haven't unpacked all my books, and that includes comic books, so they're all, a bunch of them in the closet right here next to me. And then these ones, actually the ones I just showed you, came from, I want to make sure I get their name right, because they're here in Tampa. Give a shout out to them. So here in Tampa we have, it's actually in Safety Harbor, which is part of Tampa Bay region, Missouri Comics. And if you're a fan of comic books and you live in Tampa, you've never been to Missouri Comics, you're missing out. The number of comics that this guy has collected that exist in this place is amazing. It is the most comics I think I've ever seen in one space.
How big is the place?
I would say square footage is probably about, let's see, maybe 1,500 square feet if I had to guess, or so. And it's just boxes upon boxes upon boxes. You know, there's photos available online. We'll grab a photo and throw it up on the video feed of this thing, of what this looks like inside this place. But it is packed with comics. You can order them online too from him. He actually has a numbering, has a card catalog system for his comics, and you can order them online.
Wow.
Yes.
Is he using the Dewey Decimal System?
I'm gonna go with no. I don't believe he is, which will offend all the library geeks out there, but we'll get over it.
That's something that I find kind of strange, that there are library geeks.
Oh yeah, I mean, isn't that how you become a librarian, basically? I think. I can't imagine
Is there
that career.
Is there a degree in librarianism?
You can go to school for librarian.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. I mean, there's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah.
And then apparently there are other applications for it besides actual libraries. There's comic book libraries.
Yeah. So it's amazing how many he has. He has sale. I think this was probably a year back or so, something like that. And that's where I got all these from. Was when he had sale. I was like, oh well, I haven't been to a comic book store in forever. I'm gonna check this place out. And I went in there and I bought, a bunch of the couple of Sabretooth issues that I was missing from like having a full series, and then a bunch of the Age of Apocalypse stuff because I was a big fan of that when I was a kid.
Apocalypse.
Age of Apocalypse, specifically. Whole convoluted story. Xavier's son goes in past, ends up killing Xavier by accident, and as a result of Xavier not being able to be around, Apocalypse is able to take over all of North America, basically. And so it's the story of the end days of his war and how it all comes crash down or end and return to normal.
And there's a prime example of why John is the comic book expert here.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a huge multi-comic spanning series when I was in the prime of collecting comics. So I have a bunch of them. Anyways, enough about that.
You're telling geeky veterans that it's time to stop talking about comic books?
Oh, yeah, good point.
Right.
Don't want to do that. Yeah, so I think that's going to be it for this episode of the Blue Elf and Brigade podcast. As I mentioned at the top of this thing, if you haven't checked us out on Twitter or Facebook yet, and Instagram for that matter, we have accounts on all three of them. The Twitter one, you can find us at BEB Pod. Facebook, Blue Elf and Brigade Podcast. Instagram, I believe it's Blue Elf and Brigade Podcast, I hope. We're on there, I know that. And there's links to it on our Made Podiant page. Which is at blueelfandbrigade.podiant.co instead of co. And if you're listening to this on iTunes, please give us a review on iTunes. 5-star ratings are definitely preferred, but reviews help keep a podcast alive in the iTunes feed. It's hard to get attention, it turns out, and it's a great way of doing it. And share us with your family and friends. We definitely appreciate, the response we've gotten at this point alone has been pretty awesome. So we appreciate all of it, guys. It's great.
Yeah, I would definitely like to show our appreciation for Tabitha Ray Miller. Tabby, you were great. Thanks for coming on. Vet Center, and with their 300 vet centers across the country, and the VA, of course, for all of their efforts. Namaste Yoga Studio in Tampa. Thank you for providing that piece. It was incredibly entertaining. And I'm glad that goats are being used for something besides cutting grass. And then especially to David Smith. He's doing the video editing for this podcast, and he is making us sound better than we started out as, and taking care of all the technical issues. He's doing great. And of course, John, thank you for being the driver in this whole effort.
Hey, I'm just glad that we finally got it. We first came up with this idea, 2, 3, 4 years ago, something like that. You mentioned it, so finally got it off the ground.
Yeah, it's pretty fun so far.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for listening again, guys, and we will see you in the next episode.
Catch you later.
What if my goat is drunk at a bar? What if my goat was taken to Mars? What if my goat smuggled illegals? What if my goat was attacked by